long before nations existed, before kings, armies, or empires. One force quietly shaped the world as we know it today: money. This documentary explores the story of how money began, how it changed, and how it continues to reshape the modern world in its own image. We'll follow its evolution from the first barter exchanges in early human settlements to the digital age of credit cards, mobile payments, cryptocurrencies, and state-backed digital money. This is a journey through 9,000 years of economic innovation and a look at what the future of money may mean for all of us. Every age creates its own version of value, and every version rewrites who has power. Money has always been more than metal or paper or code. It is the quiet architecture of every society. It feeds armies, builds monuments, shapes empires, and destroys them. But to understand where money is going, we must travel back far beyond banks and credit cards. Back to the first settlements, the first harvests, the first fragile exchanges between neighbors. Around 9,000 years ago, early human settlements emerged across the Fertile Crescent in places like Jericho and Çatalhöyük. People farmed wheat and barley, stored grain in clay vessels, tanned hides, and shaped obsidian blades. Communities grew large enough that not everyone knew everyone else, and this newfound anonymity meant that trust became more complex. These ever-growing settlements also became hugely dependent on and essential function. Trade barter was the first solution. A potter needed grain, a shepherd needed cloth, a farmer needed salt. But barter suffered from something known as the double coincidence of wants. You must have exactly what I want, at exactly the moment I want it. When needs didn't align, trade collapsed. People began searching for something universal, something durable, portable, and recognizable. Communities required a shared language of value. Commodity money emerged. Grain was used to fuel the markets of Sumer. Livestock powered trade across Anatolia. Salt was so precious that Rome's word for salary, salarium, came from paying soldiers with it. In early China, copper tools circulated as currency. These were things people trusted because they were essential to life. But each came with problems. Grain spoiled, animals died, salt dissolved. Tools weighed too much and couldn't be divided. Commodity money carried value, but also had its vulnerabilities. Humanity needed something more adaptable, something that didn't decay or rot or run away. Along the shores of the Indian Ocean, nature provided the answer like it so often does. Cowrie shells, small, smooth, uniform, and difficult to counterfeit. By around 2000 BC, they circulated across China, India, West Africa, and Oceania. They were light, durable, and beautiful enough to symbolize status. Archaeologists still find them today thousands of miles from the sea, proving that vast trade networks carried these beautiful shells around the world. For nearly 4,000 years, cowries facilitated markets, dowries, debts, and long-distance commerce. Humanity had its first global currency, but as populations expanded and trade intensified, even shells could not keep up. So civilizations turned to metal, harder, longer-lasting, and more standardized. Bronze tools in the Shang dynasty, copper ingots in the Near East, iron bars in early Mediterranean trade. These were the first deliberate steps toward a monumental breakthrough. A moment when value would begin to depend on a human-made symbol. A glowing lump of metal was placed onto a stone anvil. A hammer was raised. A symbol was struck. The first coin was born. In the ancient kingdom of Lydia, around 600 BCE, a revolution in value took shape. In western Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, there was a crossroads of trade, rich in precious metals. But precious metal was useless without trust. To trade it, merchants had to weigh every piece, test its purity, argue over its worth. Lydia's kings asked a simple question: what if value could be standardized, guaranteed, sealed? They began minting discs of electrum, the natural alloy of gold and silver, stamped with royal emblems of lions and bulls. These images were promises. Each coin contained a specific amount of precious metal. No haggling, no weighing, no fraud. For the first time, value could move as fast as the human hand. Word spread. Coins traveled. Greek city-states adopted silver drachmae. Persia minted gold darics to power the vast empire of Cyrus and Darius. In northern India, punch-marked coins emerged, irregular shapes stamped with symbols of kingdoms and merchants. Even China, which had long used bronze tools as proto-money, shifted toward round coins with square holes, designed to be strung on cords. Coinage connected empires. It fueled armies, markets, and taxation. It simplified trade from the Mediterranean to Central Asia. And no civilization mastered this new power quite like Rome. Rome built an empire not just of roads and legions, but of money. Beginning in the 3rd century BCE, the Romans standardized a complex system of gold, silver, and bronze coins. The silver denarius became the backbone of an economy stretching from Britain to the Middle East. Soldiers were paid in it, taxes collected in it. Merchants trusted it from Spain to Judea. A Roman coin carried the authority of the state wherever it traveled, but power invites temptation. As Rome expanded, its costs exploded. Wars on multiple fronts, military payrolls, grain subsidies, infrastructure. When the empire needed money, emperors turned to a dangerous solution: debasement. The denarius was gradually diluted, silver purity falling from more than 95% to less than 5% by the 3rd century CE. At first, people barely noticed. The coins still looked the same, but their real value collapsed. Prices soared, markets panicked, inflation spread like wildfire. The monetary foundation of the empire, once the most trusted currency in the world, crumbled. And with it, Rome's economic stability fractured. As Rome declined far to the east, a different transformation was beginning. A technological leap so profound, it would take the rest of the world centuries to catch up. A society burdened with mountains of heavy coins searched for a lighter, more efficient solution, one that would rewrite the very idea of what money could be. In China, the weight of metal had become a burden. By the 7th century CE, merchants transporting thousands of copper coins found themselves hauling loads so heavy that journeys became dangerous and slow. Coins were necessary, but their weight, sometimes measured in literal tons, restrained long-distance trade. During the Tang dynasty, traders began using promissory notes, handwritten certificates acknowledging deposits of coin. These early letters of credit allowed merchants to travel without carrying metal, replacing weight with words. But this was only the beginning. In the early 11th century, during the Song dynasty, a remarkable innovation emerged in Sichuan province. Faced with copper shortages and a booming economy, merchants and the government collaborated to create the world's first government-issued paper money. Known as jiaozi, these lightweight notes were printed on mulberry bark paper using advanced woodblock techniques. These notes carried official seals, anti-forgery warnings, and expiration dates. They could be exchanged for goods, paid as taxes, and redeemed at government offices. It was a leap far ahead of its time and took place centuries before Europe would even trust the idea. Paper money allowed China to expand internal trade dramatically. A merchant could ride hundreds of miles without fear of bandits stealing heavy metal coins. The economy became more fluid, more connected, more ambitious. Money itself had become information, lightweight, portable, and backed by authority rather than metal. Meanwhile, in medieval Europe, markets remained tangled in metal. Gold and silver coins were prized, but scarce. Long-distance trade required carrying chests of coin, guarded by armed escorts. Fraud was common, theft was rampant, and religion forbade usury, a term that described the inclusion of interest on loans, which complicated lending and investment. Pressure built. And something had to change. In the 13th and 14th centuries, Italy answered the call. In Florence, Siena, Venice, and Genoa, merchant banking families invented systems that would define global finance for centuries. Inside candlelit counting houses, clerks armed with quills created bills of exchange, an early form check that allowed merchants to transfer money across continents without carrying physical currency. A trader in Florence could deposit coins, receive a bill, travel to London, and cash it without ever touching the original metal. Trust had become transferable. Paper, not metal, moved commerce. Italian bankers also developed double-entry bookkeeping, a mathematical breakthrough that tracked assets and liabilities with unprecedented accuracy. This system remains the foundation of accounting worldwide. Their ledgers financed kings, popes, wars, and expeditions. They helped spark the Renaissance. Money had become an abstract non-entity, numbers on a page, guided by trust in institutions rather than weight in metal. Then, in 17th century England, goldsmiths introduced another quiet revolution. People deposited gold with them for safekeeping, receiving paper receipts in return. Over time, those receipts began circulating as money. If a receipt holder could collect gold on demand, the receipt was as good as the metal itself. This system paved the way for the rise of national banks. Sweden established the world's first central bank in 1668. The Bank of England followed in 1694. For the first time, governments controlled the issuance of paper currency. Money was becoming a national project, not merely an economic convenience. But nations still craved something stronger than paper promises. They wanted a single, undeniable anchor for value, and so the world turned toward gold, pure, immutable, and unchanging. The gold standard era was about to begin. By the 18th and 19th centuries, nations sought something that could impose discipline on their currencies, something universal, trusted, and immune to political whims. Gold became that anchor. Its scarcity, durability, and near-mythic status made it the perfect foundation for a global monetary order. Under the gold standard, every paper note a government issued had to be backed by a fixed amount of gold held in reserve. A pound sterling, a dollar, a franc, each was convertible, on demand, into a precise weight of metal. Paper became a promise. Gold became the truth. The system brought stability on a scale the world had never seen. International trade flourished. Exchange rates became predictable. Investors could trust that a debt in one country would retain its value in another. It was, in many ways, the first era of true globalization, powered not by technology, but by trust in gold. The British Empire made the gold standard global. The Industrial Revolution accelerated it. Railways, telegraphs, steamships, everything moved faster, and so did money. Banks held enormous gold reserves to protect their currencies. Governments built financial reputations based on the strength of their vaults. But gold had a fatal weakness. It did not bend. It could not adjust quickly to crises. It offered stability, but no flexibility. And when the world changed too fast, the system broke. In 1929, the Great Depression plunged the global economy into chaos. Banks failed. Stocks collapsed. Nations panicked. People rushed to withdraw gold, fearing the paper in their hands was losing value. Gold flowed out of bank vaults faster than governments could replace it. To survive, countries abandoned the gold standard one by one. The United States halted domestic gold convertibility in 1933. Europe followed. Gold was no longer the heartbeat of world money. It had become a chain choking the system during crisis. Yet after World War II, nations tried to rebuild order. In 1944, delegates from 44 countries gathered in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, to design a new global monetary system. They created a hybrid model. Major currencies were pegged to the US dollar, and the dollar was pegged to gold. The United States promised to redeem dollars held by foreign governments for gold at a fixed price. For a time, it worked. The world rebuilt, trade expanded, the dollar rose to dominance. But beneath the surface, pressure grew. As global economies boomed, nations needed more dollars. And as more dollars were printed, the gold behind them became increasingly insufficient. Foreign governments began demanding gold in exchange for their dollars, and as a result, U.S. reserves dwindled. The system was collapsing. Something had to give. And so, on August 15, 1971, President Richard Nixon addressed the nation and announced that the United States would suspend gold convertibility. Overnight, the last link between currency and gold was severed. Money was no longer backed by metal, only by trust. Governments could now issue currency without needing to match it with gold reserves. This was the birth of fiat money, currency backed solely by confidence in the state. The implications were enormous. Money became elastic. Supply could expand or contract based on economic needs. Inflation, once constrained by gold, could now rise freely. Interest rates became a tool of policy rather than a reflection of metal reserves. Money had transformed from physical substance into an idea. But this new world was only beginning. As the decades passed, money would undergo another metamorphosis, one that would remove physical form entirely. The digital age was coming, and with it, a revolution invisible to the eye, but powerful enough to reshape the world. By the late 20th century, the nature of money began to shift again, quietly at first, then with accelerating momentum. As computers emerged from research labs and entered homes, offices, and banks, money started slipping out of the physical world and into the digital one. The seeds were planted decades earlier. In 1950, the Diners Club card became the first widely used charge card, replacing cash with a promise to pay. In 1958, Bank of America launched Bank America Card, later known as Visa, ushering in the era of credit cards. These pieces of plastic appeared simple, but behind them was a growing digital network that authorized, recorded, and settled payments. Then, in 1967, a machine in London dispensed money without a human teller, the world's first ATM. In 1973, the SWIFT network connected banks across continents, enabling electronic transfers on a global scale. Slowly, quietly, the infrastructure of digital money was forming. By the 1980s and 1990s, online banking emerged. People checked balances from home. Transfers happened with a click. Debit cards replaced most everyday cash usage. And behind the scenes, banks stored less and less physical currency. Numbers on screens replaced paper in wallets. Today, only an estimated 3% of global money exists as physical cash. The rest, more than 97%, is digital, existing only as entries in databases, flowing through networks and servers in fractions of a second. Money became weightless. It became invisible. It became pure information. In some parts of the world, the transition was even more dramatic. In Kenya, the introduction of M-Pesa in 2007 transformed local economies. People could send and receive money through basic mobile phones, even without a bank account. Entire communities leapfrogged over traditional banking, stepping directly into a digital future. In China, the rise of mobile payment platforms like WeChat Pay and Alipay revolutionized everyday transactions. Street vendors, grocery stores, taxis, and markets all adopted QR codes. Many young people stopped carrying cash entirely. China's society became cashless, not through cards or banks, but through phones. The transformation reshaped habits. Money moved faster, smoother, more seamlessly. But as digital systems grew more powerful, so did the institutions controlling them. Banks, payment processors, and governments now had unprecedented visibility into transactions. Every purchase left a trace. Every transfer created a record. Privacy, once a feature of physical cash, was quietly fading. And then something unexpected happened. In 2008, as the global financial crisis shattered trust in banks, a mysterious figure, or group, named Satoshi Nakamoto, released a 9-page document online. It described a radical idea, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, a currency with no central authority, no bank, no government, only cryptography, math, and a decentralized network of participants verifying each transaction. Bitcoin was born in January 2009. It wasn't just digital money, it was trustless digital money, meaning users didn't need to trust institutions, they only had to trust code. Transactions were recorded on a blockchain, an immutable ledger spread across thousands of computers worldwide. At first, Bitcoin seemed like an experiment, a curiosity. But slowly, it grew, its value rose, its network expanded, and people realized something profound. For the first time in history, digital money didn't have to be controlled by anyone. This idea opened the floodgates. Other cryptocurrencies emerged. Ethereum introduced smart contracts, programs that could execute automatically on the blockchain. Decentralized finance created systems for lending, borrowing, trading, and earning interest without banks. Money became programmable, financial systems became open, innovation accelerated. But governments were watching. Central banks understood that if money was moving into the digital realm and if cryptocurrencies were gaining traction, they needed to respond. And their response would transform the future of financial power. Central banks began studying the same technologies that powered Bitcoin. It was characterized by distributed ledgers, digital signatures, and cryptographic security. But they envisioned something very different from decentralized cryptocurrencies. They imagined state-controlled digital currencies, programmable, traceable, and tightly integrated with national financial systems. These are known as CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Their development accelerated rapidly in the 2020s. China led the charge with the digital yuan, launching massive pilot programs across major cities. Citizens received salaries, paid bills, and made everyday purchases using state-issued digital wallets. Each transaction flowed through centralized servers, monitored and analyzed in real time. Other nations followed. Sweden experimented with the e-krona. The European Union explored a digital euro. India developed a digital rupee. The Bahamas released the sand dollar. The concept spread across Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas. More than 90 central banks hurried to initiate research. Money was transforming once again, not spontaneously like Bitcoin, but by deliberate state design. CBDCs promise many benefits: faster payments, lower transaction costs, better access to financial services for unbanked populations, instant settlement across borders, reduced fraud, the potential to replace outdated banking infrastructure with modern, efficient systems. But CBDCs also introduce profound questions about privacy and control. Unlike cash, which leaves no trace, digital currencies can be monitored at every step. Governments could track how money moves, where it's spent, and who receives it. They could, in theory, enforce spending limits, expiration dates, or targeted restrictions. The line between financial policy and personal behavior could blur. For centuries, cash offered anonymity. A coin in your pocket gave you freedom to transact without oversight. But in a purely digital world, anonymity is no longer inherent. It must be designed intentionally, or not at all. The rise of surveillance technologies complicates this further. Facial recognition, location tracking, and data analytics could intertwine with digital currency systems. Imagine walking into a store, cameras identify you, your CBDC wallet authorizes the purchase automatically, and the transaction enters a permanent government ledger. Convenient, but transparent in ways humanity has never experienced before. And yet, even as governments push towards centralized digital money, decentralized cryptocurrencies continue evolving. Bitcoin remains a store of value for many. Ethereum powers smart contracts, DAOs, and decentralized applications. New protocols experiment with privacy, scale, programmable finance, and governance models. The digital world is becoming a battleground of philosophies, centralized control versus decentralized freedom. Humanity finds itself at a crossroads. On one side, streamlined efficiency, government-backed stability, and integrated digital infrastructure. On the other, open networks, user-controlled assets, and financial sovereignty independent of institutions. The future of money may not belong entirely to one side, but to a tension-filled coexistence between them. The transformation ahead will not be defined solely by technology, but by values, by how societies balance convenience with privacy, innovation with oversight, and efficiency with freedom. Money has always mirrored what we believe, what we fear, and what we hope for. And as we reshape it once again, it will reshape us in return. From barter to shells, from metal to paper, from gold to fiat, from plastic to digital code, money has adapted to every era. But the next evolution is different. For the first time, money may no longer be something we hold, but instead something that holds us. And the story of what comes next is still unfolding.